All right, so today what we're going to work on is hip flexors, quads, and if you have any kind of issues in the lower back, more than likely it's associated with an anterior pelvic tilt where your hip tilts forward, which loads that lower back. So we're going to work on opening up this anterior chain. Piece of equipment that you'll use is you'll need a foam roller and some sort of pad, whether it's a couch cushion or something like that that you're using at home. But do find a wall as well, because I want your foot to go parallel up against the wall. But let's get started. The first initial set is you want to back your body up against the wall. You want to place your knee right up against the wall, just like so that your shin is as close to the wall as possible and your foot is pointed up the wall. From there, you're going to just stagger your stance so that you can just get a little bit of hip mobility. So in order to get a good hip mobility, you really want to drive the glute and activate this movement where you're driving the hips forward while utilizing the glute. This is going to be important because what we want to do is we want to send a signal through our mind that our glute activation opens up that hip flexor and releases the quad so that we can move freely through our extension. It's all about opening up the extension press throughout the hips, but we want to utilize it through the signal of the glute. So every time I drive my hips forward, you will notice that it is being activated through the glute and not just pushing my belly forward. We don't want to push through the spine. We want to push through the hip to open up that hip flexor that's already tight or inflamed, and we want to break that tissue up and lengthen it back to its normal state. So we're going to do that by throwing the pad all the way up against the wall, and then from there, getting your knee close to the wall. At this point, I want you to stagger your stance. It's okay just to take a little knee type position. From here, just drive your hip forward and loosen that up. And it's okay to move from the side to the inside, sawing motion where you're just driving and pushing forward, coming out of it. And if that feels pretty good, go ahead and do a little check. Make sure that you're able to squeeze your glute and press your hip forward. And if you can do that and it's not too painful, you can go ahead and go into a little bit more of a sprinter position where I'm a little further up. Now from here, I can saw in and out. I'm going to drive that glute and make sure that I'm pushing that hip forward with my glute and opening up. Here I start to feel just a little bit of tension. I did legs today, so I got a little bit of tension in that quad, but I can still do just a little bit more. That's where this foam roller comes in. It's nice and handy. You can use it as a kickstand to just kind of prop yourself up and get yourself at a better angle. Now from here, I could just walk through, and about right there, and about right here is where I start to feel a lot of my tension in my quad. And some of you guys might have a little bit more foot upright. My knee did drift about an inch away from the wall, and that's okay. You know, we're going to work on progressing it to where I can get that knee all the way up against the wall for the whole duration of the mobility section. But this is okay for this first set. You will notice as we progress through this, I'll get a lot better at doing this and coming upright even throughout this one session. So again, we're just rocking through, sawing back and forth, opening. It's already starting to release just a little bit. I am able to squeeze my glute at my full hip extension position. So that tells me I can go maybe just a little bit further. So I'm just gonna walk my foot up and then get into this position. So now I'm in the nice position where I'm using this foam roller as my crutch. And I'm just pushing my hip and I'm flexing my glute. This is probably about my max before I start my first soft tissue work with the foam. So again, I'm just nice and engaged, rolling through. And we want to do this for about 30 seconds or so. So just stay in it. Breathing is going to be really important. Wiggling around, opening it up in different areas. Just navigate that hip and that hip flexor as much as possible. Don't just find the easiest spot. Like on my lateral side, on my outside, I can feel a lot more tension pushing through my glute and opening up this way than I do pushing this way. So everyone's a little bit different, so just find your spot and go with that. Again, my leg is nice and far up against the wall. Just let it breathe. We're taking our time with these movements, just making sure that everything is releasing accordingly, and then we'll progress it. Okay, go ahead and come down off the wall, and then from here, what we're looking for is I'm looking to break this quad up into thirds. So I got from my hip and a third of the way down to where it just starts to tie in the upper portion of the quad. That's the first third. The second third includes the meaty part of the quad, that mid section of the quad. So you're just tapping, the top end is just tapping into where the hip flexor was, where the bottom first third stopped. You're tapping into where that hip flexor ties into the quad, and then you're gonna work the foam roller down into the mid part. So in this first section, all we're gonna focus in on is the first third of your leg, all right? Your foam roller. Once you got the first 30 to 60 seconds done on that first leg, I'm just gonna adjust this down a little bit. On this first leg, you're gonna set your foam roller down to where you can get in on just the edge of the foam roller. So the edge of this, that allows you to work the inside of the hip flexor, but then also allows you obviously to work the outside. So on the edge of this foam roller, again, I'm just gonna make sure that I'm on the screen. We're gonna be here. Just gonna push this back just a little bit. We're gonna be here, and I just want you to get that foam roller to where it's right at the hip flexor. So we're right into this position here. So at this hip flexor portion, we're going to just find and navigate. I'm right where the hip is, right? Right, and it's okay to be on a bony part. That's fine and dandy. It's not gonna hurt anything with this foam roller. So while I'm at the top portion of this top third of my quad, I'm going to just navigate and see if I can find any areas that are super sensitive. I'm more sensitive on the outside, right about here, where my hip bone and the top of my thigh bone meet together. That's where I'm most sensitive. So I'm gonna just kind of saw back and forth on this and break that fascia up. So I'm just moving back and forth across that fascia and breaking that tissue up. From there, I'm going to take a big deep breath, and then I'm going to press and flex into that as hard as I can, squeezing my glutes, squeezing my quads, and pushing in. And I'm just going to hold my breath for about 5 seconds. And then I'm just going to let go, exhale, and let go. And what we're looking for is a good response from the tissue. And a good response from the tissue means that we are going to get, the tissue is going to be, when you're initially in it and you're sitting on top of it, when you flex that quad and you flex the glute and that tissue hardens, when you release, how well does that tissue release and absorb the foam roller? Does it slowly release to where it just slowly accepts the pain tolerance? Or does it just kind of relax right away and go into it? What we're looking for is to relax right away and go into it. If it doesn't, reassess it, reevaluate it every time, and don't leave that area or navigate. You can navigate to other areas at the top thread, but come back to that and let's get it to where we can get it to really release. And those deep breath, hold flexes, and pressing into the foam roller help to break that tissue up. And we want that good broken up so the next time we hop on this wall, we'll reap the benefit of it. So, again, I'm just going back down to that spot. I've already navigated other areas. They feel pretty healthy. Inside edge, outside edge. And right about there is where I start to feel just a little bit right there. So I'm gonna spend some time sawing back and forth again. And again, yours might be here. It might be a little bit more inside. It's okay, wherever yours is at, you find that spot and you navigate it. So you're just gonna saw back and forth. You're gonna flex that foot, flex that quad, that glute, and just hold into it 5 seconds. Big breath. And then relax and just let it melt. And just sit there for a second. Let that tissue relax and just wrap around the foam roller. just like so. Navigate just a little bit so you can find anything. And now while it's nice and relaxed, go ahead and saw it again. Now that you're in a deeper portion of the tissue, you can really start to break it up because we've broken through layers and layers of tissue. And now we're into a deeper spot and we're going to just work that section out. All right, now we can go just a little bit lower on, still on the upper third. So we're still on the upper third, and on this one, what we'll do is we'll go from this hip down just a little bit at a time, navigate this whole area, then we'll navigate down to this spot, and that's the first third. So now we're just gonna be at the top quad and on down. So let's break it into that third into 3 sections as well. So we'll make our way down. So I'm gonna just do that really quick, and I'll show you on this side so you can see all the angles. So now I'm getting this thing to navigate. I know my spot's right here on this side of my hip, and I'm just going to navigate just a little bit further. And yes, I found another sweet spot. Again, that makes sense because we're still tied into that same tissue that's having problems with at the higher level. So I'm just going to work that hip, work that tissue. I'm actually a little bit more anterior. I feel it a little bit more on my front side. We're just going to navigate that all the way down. Again, wrapping around, making sure I get all the way through my hip, checking everything. Again, it's right here. So now I'm going to just flex really hard, glute and your quad. And the toe needs to be relaxed, the foot needs to be relaxed on the foot, on the ground, and you're just gonna flex into that foam roller hard as you can. And then relax and let everything just kind of melt into it. And that released pretty quick on me. So I'm just gonna let it melt and just kind of let the foam roller do its thing, let gravity do its thing. And it's okay to just lay all the way down and let that thing really push into there. You're propped up on your forearm. You're just gonna take some of the load off of it. The lower you get, the more it's just gonna dig deeper into it, and I can really feel something good here. So now I'm just gonna saw right there. Again, I'm only an inch down from where I was before, but I'm really navigating that whole tissue. I'm trying to find all the problem areas and get it all out. And now flexing. Let it melt around the foam roller. There, all of it's released on me, and feels pretty painful, but good. Good. All right. Now just a little bit lower. Again, I can adjust this so you guys might be able to see me a little bit better. So now I got this just a little bit lower, and from here, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push it just an inch down lower from where it was. I can really feel the top of my quads, and with that, you're gonna do the same format. Just keep working that third. So outside, you'll feel the edge of your IT band. Now that I'm in the top part of that quad, I can feel the edge of that IT band. I'm still on the quad area, but I'm definitely running into the midway point, which is that IT band area. And I'm just gonna navigate through. And this one happens to be more anterior. So I've noticed that as I started up here, it was really on the side of my hip, and now it's kind of crossing through and moving anteriorly towards the front of my body. And so now I can feel some good tension right about there. I'm gonna flex on it, big breath. And just let it kind of melt in there. And it's okay to just kind of throw your head down and just let this thing melt through there. And again, I'm just navigating this whole thing. Slide my foam roller in just a little bit at the groin area, or towards the groin area. Everything seems pretty healthy in there. right here. This is where my problem area is, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's that. All right. So that's the first third. Time to go back to our pad. We're going to keep your kickstand close by. I like to use the other side from the leg that's being propped up or on the ground. So from here, I'm going to get my knee all the way back. Get nice and close to the wall, just like so. And from there, again, I'm going to walk to here, see if I can feel it. Everything's good. Yeah, I'm going to stop from there. I'm going to get all the way up to my foot. Grab my crutch. Throw my forearm on it. I'm still got a nice little straight line with my body. I'm not arching through my belly. I got a nice straight line. I'm just, again, navigating through. And this one feels, I got a lot more movement. I can squeeze my glute a lot better this time around, which is great news. I'm gonna try and come up just a little bit higher. My belly's in, I'm not arching through, and I'm upright. Whereas before, I was not upright at all. With that tension, I couldn't squeeze my glute when I was this high. So everything's really done its job. This foam roller stretch combo is money. You wanna open up your hips, you wanna have more mobility, this is the one to do on regular. Keep it in your program. All right. Now, we're gonna go to the same leg again, but this time we're gonna go into the second third. So we're gonna work that area. We're gonna work it the same way we worked the first one. We're gonna break that third of the quad up into 3 sections. Use your foam roller down. And sorry, my camera doesn't catch all of me, but you don't need to see my face. All right, so I'm third of the way down. I got the foam roller on the edge. I'm on the inside. That way I can roll towards the inside and get that full inside leg. And this is gonna be the meaty part of that quad. So you're on the top portion of that meaty part of the quad. And I'm just navigating through. And right there, right away, I found one. I'm right on top of it. Again, I'm a little bit laterally, which makes sense from all the other tissue damage I found. So I'm gonna work this area, I'm gonna saw it. And it's pretty painful. This sawing mechanism really helps the body to break that tissue and tells those actin and myosin binding sites that hold your tissue contracted to let go and release. And therefore, that's what gives us our length back. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a nice little flex. And then I'm gonna relax. And you can go right to your forehead, just like, well, you can't see me. You can go right to your forehead, just like so, and relax your body. We're just gonna hold this right here and let the foam roller just melt in. Good, go ahead and start sawing again. Now we're in deeper territory. And the odd thing is that I found a little tissue right on the inside, medial side, that I didn't find up top. That could be causing some issues in my hip mobility. So I'm gonna just sit right here, flex on it. And wiggle around. Nice sawing motion. Back to the lateral side. Oh yeah, there's a spot. This lateral side of mine is just really tight, and I imagine most of you hockey players have the same thing. I'll get back in the screen. Most of you have the same problem, since you do a lot of pressing outward from your body, that these things get pretty tight, and I found quite a bit of tissue right here on that lateral side that need help. So I'm gonna flex on it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Let it just melt over it. Again, get down, just drop your hands, your head, your forehead into your fist onto the ground. Allow that thing to just relax. Don't flex anything. Just let it be in its natural state of relaxation. Then from here, you're just gonna wiggle around again, breaking all that tissue up. Oh boy. Just doing legs today, and it's definitely feeling it. Again, we'll flex. Nice. Solid a little bit more. Good. All right. So feel free to navigate that hole. Make sure you go all the way to the IT band side. Get that all loosened up. Now we're going to go back to our wall for one last time. This should be our best one. Prop your knee, get it back there. Toe pointed. We're in a good starting point. That's the bottom of my shoe. From there, get up, make sure I can move this movement nice and good. I can. Grab my kickstand, forearm on it. Still got good activation. It's okay if you gotta baby step this thing. Again, in and out. Make sure your spine is straight. Go nice and tall. Again, I'm able to squeeze my butt. Everything is tight. That's telling me I'm in full extension. Stay to my hips. My knee has drifted maybe 3/4 of an inch from the wall. So I'm already better than what I was that first set. Push out, navigate around, go this way. Sit tall. Now I'm not arching my way back. I'm just pushing through to where there's a very small gap between my calf and my hamstring. If you can't get there, that's fine. Good. All right. That's leg one. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So, other side looks like this. We're gonna start with our kickstand close by. We're gonna walk our knee all the way back, point our toe up. Again, we'll have the same problems I had on the last side. We're gonna start here, come out, come in, flex the glute, roll sideways, make sure everything's good. We're navigating through this whole thing. See if I can get up. So I'm about here. That's putting a lot of pressure on there. This is okay. I'm still in a straight alignment with my spine. I'm still able to drive my glute, but it's pretty tight. Back and forth. Excellent. Let's go into our foam roll. We're on the top third. We'll start right at the hip and then move our way down. At the hip bone area, it's okay again. If you're on bone tissue, that's all right. So we're just going to get into this. Setting right to the edge here. And we'll get right on top of where the hip folds naturally or bends naturally. From there, I'm just going to navigate through, body solid, and I can feel stuff right away, right on the top. So I'm just going to add some pressure. Good. Body solid around. Outside. Definitely some pressure here too. This side might be worse off than the other side. Side here. working the tissues, sawing movement across the foam roller. And I'm just gonna take it a little bit lower, an inch lower. I think this feels pretty healthy there. Here's a little bit of trouble. Give it a little flex. Let it kind of melt on the inside. Feels pretty good. Just my last little section here. Right about there, I feel something. Good. Okay. First third there. Let's load it back up. Knee all the way against the wall. Assess. Can I drive my glute? I can. Get it all the way into the hip flexion. So that's good. Here, I'm just going to. Already feels better. I'm able to squeeze my glute, drive it underneath. It is tight, but I'm still able to contract, sending that signal to my brain that, hey, when my glute activates, that hip drives forward, that hip flexor releases. You want to send that memory to the tissue so that your body always works appropriately. Slide my knee just a little bit. Okay. Again, I'm still in a nice straight spine, able to squeeze my glute. Everything feels pretty tight, but it feels pretty good. I know the work's getting done. You should always feel the work being done. Excellent. Okay. Second third of your quad. Again, everything 30 to 60 seconds on the couch stretch, and then navigate however long it takes on the foam roller to get everything to loosen up. So, edge of the foam roller. We're in our starting position. We're at that second third, so you're going to start right where the quad ties into the hip flexor, and then you're just going to get it where you can saw around. Right at the top quadrant. I'm feeling something right about here. I'm just going to allow that to take its course here. I'm going to flex into it. Let it melt around that foam roller. And then just saw it a little bit more. Oh yeah, right there. Again, it's on that lateral side. Flex. That released really slow, so I know this is an area that I need to hit again. I'm gonna hit it again right now. That was better. Just gonna lay my forehead on my hands. Just saw it out a little bit more. Move the foam roller down just a little bit, clicks. Nice little saw motion. Flex. Release. Nice little saw motion. You should have a good sweat going on. We'll move to the inside, see if there's anything over there. It feels pretty good, pretty healthy, and voila. Good. So again, make sure that you get all thirds of that second third, and but you should. I got a nice healthy little sweat going on just from breaking up that tissue and releasing it. It's very normal to have that soft little glow about your skin. All right, get the knee propped back. Grab your kickstand, bring it close. From here, I'm just going to self-navigate again. Good. Get up into a nice kneeling stance. Yeah, I can already tell that this is better than where it was. My knee's a lot closer to the wall now. I'm just keeping it nice and steady. Bring it up just a little bit more. Feels pretty good. I can flex that glute. Feels pretty amazing. So you get this tall, to go from barely crouching off the floor to getting up to this upright position. That means I made a lot of progress in a short amount of time. Voila. So we have done the upper and the mid thirds. That is all you need to do for this section of opening up your hips. So let's just make sure that we take our time. We self-navigate all of the tissue in those two areas, 2/3 that I was talking about in the quad, making sure that you're always working on driving that glute, activating glute, and that tells you whether or not, if you can squeeze your glute while having the couch stretch in place. If you can squeeze your glute while doing it, then you're ready to progress into a more upright position. If you can't, marinate in that for a while, and then start pushing yourself to doing a little bit higher elevation. All right. Again, it's going to be just a couple of foam sessions. Top, third, second, third. But each one of those are broken into three components. So you have 6 different levels that you're working on the foam roller, but you're gonna break it up each time with going over to the couch and doing the couch wall stretch. Preferably a wall, so that you're also getting that plantar flexion going on in your ankle. But if you can't, and all you have is a couch, that's fine. Just make sure, again, that your shin is up close to the couch, and that you can do the movements in the right fashion. All right, good luck.